Hi everyone, so today's video we're looking at a PlayStation 1 by Sony. This is actually my first console I ever had growing up, so this is really nostalgic for me. So this came in the same eBay job lot that the Anbernic, I don't know how to say it, that the Anbernic retro game console came in last video. In fact, there was two PlayStation 1s in this bundle. The other one that came in the bundle was a modded PlayStation 1. This one, unfortunately, I don't think is modded, but it did come with a copy of Nippon Formula Racing, which is really cool, because I don't actually have another PlayStation 1 game to test this with. So yeah, so we'll put that to the side and hang on to that. I already went ahead and tested this off screen with our copy of Formula Nippon. It will power on. It will even read a disc, which is really good because that seems to be a common problem with these consoles, and I didn't really feel like fixing that. Sounded like a pain. The problem is the controller ports don't work. So yeah, so hopefully it should be an easy fix. There's a few things that I could think of off the top of my head that might cause that. The worst one I think to deal with would probably be the chip that controls like the USB ports. If there is one of those on the PlayStation 1, I'm not really sure. But if there's a USB control chip and that's gone faulty, that's probably going to be the most annoying thing to deal with, because it's going to mean I'm going to need to order a chip, probably from China, and I'm going to have to wait a few weeks for that to arrive. Another thing I could think of might be that there's some trace damage between the ports and whatever component is in line with them, probably the USB control chip. And then the third thing I could think of that's probably the one that I'm hoping is wrong with it is that the ports themselves have dry or just cracked solder joints. If that's what's wrong with it, then hopefully it should be an easy fix. I would just need to take it apart and redo that solder. I suppose the ports themselves could also be faulty, so maybe there's 4 things that could be wrong with it. It's possible there's also other things wrong with it once we get it taken apart, but I'm really hoping it's going to be an easy fix. So yep, so without any more delay, let's get into it. Right, that was actually really easy to take apart. I'm super happy about that. It's a little bit dusty in here, but not too bad, to be honest. Quickly from left to right, what I think we have here is the power supply, obviously, I guess. The laser assembly for the disk drive, and the USB ports are at the front, but no, they're not USB ports, are they? They're just controller ports. And then underneath here we've got the main board. You can see one of the chips here. First things that I can see are that we actually have a ribbon cable here that's connecting the ports to the main board. I'm really hoping that that isn't what is bad, because if it is, I'm going to have to order another one of those. I don't have one. So that's going to be a pain. The other thing I can see that we've got here is, if I flip this on its back, is each of these USB ports, I keep calling them USB ports, they're not USB ports. These PlayStation controller ports has a board on the back of them with different solder joints on them. So I'm kind of thinking I might go ahead and take this board out and check the solder connections on the back of this board first, because I'm hoping that's what's wrong with it. If that's not the problem, the next thing I'll end up doing is probably just checking this ribbon cable for connectivity from one end to the other using the multimeter, and then if that's not a problem, we'll move on to the main board and take a look at that. So yeah, so let's get these controller ports out I'm going to undo the screws. Right, and then we need to disconnect this ribbon cable, which I'm going to try to not damage it. Okay, just quickly looking at the connections at the end, the traces I guess, they all look fine to me. So there's no corrosion on those traces, which is a good sign. I'm going to remove that from under there for now, just to move it out of the way. Okay, not to move it out of the way, just going to remove it for no reason I guess. Let's take these ports out. And we can take a look at the board on the back now. So, I'm going to be honest, just from a visual inspection, all of these connections look absolutely fine to me. Which isn't really a good sign for the ease of this repair, because it means I might have to look at the main board. Honestly, I think those are completely fine. I don't see any cracked traces either, at least with the naked eye. There's something here. Okay, it was just paint or something. But yeah, those all look absolutely fine. I think we're going to put that to the side for now. I don't think that's the problem. I really don't. So next thing I want to check is this ribbon cable. So we're going to check the ribbon cable for continuity using the multimeter. So multimeter is going to go on continuity mode. So what this is going to do is if we take the two probes for the multimeter and we touch them together, it's going to beep. So this will tell us if the ribbon cable has got any breaks in the traces in it, and if we need to replace it. I'm really hoping we don't, because I don't have another one. I suppose I could steal one from the PlayStation, but no, then I'd only have one working one. So that's not ideal. So I'm going to attempt to check this. It's quite fiddly. Okay, so first one's good. Cool, okay, so I think that's absolutely fine, which is good news, because I don't have another one like I said. Bad news is, that means that we're going to have to go down to the main board and check that, so there could potentially be a problem with something on the main board. So next we're going to try and remove the power supply connector and the disk drive connector and go down and check the main board. So let's do that now. So disk drive. I don't think there's a locking tab for this, so I'm just going to go ahead and try and remove it. If there is a locking tab and I end up breaking it, then oops. Okay, no, that looks okay. I don't think there was a locking tab. Power supply. Now this has been plugged in recently, so I do need to be a little bit careful. Okay. I don't know if that bit comes out. I'm just going to unplug that and leave it. And we need to remove this shield from the main board. Okay, one more thing I spotted, there's this connector. I think this is the power connector for the disk drive. So we need to remove this as well. Okay, finally, and then we're just... Can we just take this off? We can, okay. Surprised that's not screwed down at all, to be honest. Just put it over here. And then hopefully we should be able to just remove this shield. Yep, we absolutely can. We can go over here. Right, and so this is the main board of the PlayStation. I think this was the connector for the USB USB ports, I guess. Again, looking at the solder joints, it looks completely fine to me. Okay, so I think I found the problem. I think this fuse here seems to have blown. I was just looking around, testing some fuses. I couldn't really see anything wrong with like any of the traces or in this area. I don't have a microscope or anything like that at the moment, but I couldn't, just visually I couldn't see anything with naked eye. You know, the ports felt solid, so I wasn't too concerned with them not being connected. I didn't actually go along and test all of the connections, because to be honest I wasn't sure which one's connected to which. But I probably will do that afterwards. But one thing I did find was that when checking fuses, so there's two 20 amp fuses here, and then there's this one, which is PS605. And if I try to check the conductivity on this one, I get nothing. No beeps, no change on the multimeter reading. So I think this fuse has just died, which, if that is the only problem, that would be nice and simple to fix. Trouble is, I don't have another one of these fuses, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do here. I guess maybe I have to go get a fuse. Alright, so I might regret this decision, but I've decided to take the fuse out of my working PlayStation 1 and see if swapping it into this one is going to make it magically work. And if it does, I'll probably order up a replacement fuse to fix this one. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to really hope that it doesn't cause the fuse that I put in from this one to blow, because that would be very sad, and then I wouldn't have any working PlayStations. I've just noticed that this one actually is missing a screw, which is interesting. This one had the other one had 4 screws in it. This one only had 3 screws inside. Right, taking a look at it, it's very clear this is the modded one, because it's got this kind of spaghetti junction of wires going through it. I really have no idea what any of this is or does or connects to. I mean, it's working, so I'm not going to touch any of it, obviously. This is the fuse here that we care about, so this is the PS605 fuse. I have no idea what any of these other fuses do, but from what I found, this PS605 one is for the controller ports. So that's the one we're going to worry about. I'm a little bit worried about how close it is to these plastic connectors. I really don't want to have to melt. I really don't want to have to replace either of these if I melt them. So yeah, so I really don't want to melt either of these ports. So I've got some tin foil, some aluminium foil, which is the correct way of pronouncing it. And I'm going to try and cover up these ports and see if I can avoid damaging them at all. I don't know if it's going to make a difference, but I've seen people using like aluminium tape and stuff, so I'm hoping that this will do a similar job. Alright, so we're going to apply a little bit of flux. It's probably too much, but I don't know, better than none. And then we're going to come in with our soldering iron. Hopefully it's set hot enough, I don't actually know. I'm still very new to soldering, so it's all kind of guesswork from here. And then we're going to try and remove this fuse without damaging anything else around here. Okay. That wasn't too bad. Oh. Please I haven't lost that.
Wait, no, I see it.
Okay. Disaster averted. We found the fuse. And we're going to put that over here. I really hope we removed the right thing. And then let's check to see if we've melted either of those ports. Sorry, connectors, not ports.
No, those look fine.
Okay, cool, that worked. Nice, I'm very happy with that. And now we're going to remove the old port from... I did it again. And now we're going to remove the old connector from the faulty board. I'm going to call this one the faulty board. And replace it with this one. So let's do that. So again, we're going to protect the connectors, because that seemed to work very well last time.
Boop. Boop.
Okay. And we'll put that one here. Then we're going to come back in with our good fuse.
I'll try and position it. Just see if I can maybe tack it down. I've never done this before. Okay, that's soldered on, but it's not in the right position.
Ah, this is very tricky. I'm going to come in and clean this up because I can't really see what I'm doing here. Right, I'm going to try again, and I'm going to try and tack down one side of it, and then hopefully we'll be able to do the other side afterwards. I might need to add a little bit more solder to some of these pads, because it looks like they don't actually have that much solder on, but maybe it's fine. I'm sure people are cringing at me doing this, but you know, this is only like the third time probably that I've done any soldering, so
Second even maybe, I don't know. So please be kind.
Okay, that seems to be tacked down on one side, so now let's tack it down on the other side. Alright, that seems to be on. Let's give it a quick clean with some isopropyl alcohol. Let's check we haven't melted either of these connectors again. Looks good so far. And we still look good. I'm going to come back in with the multimeter quickly. And we're going to check to see if the fuse still works.
I'm trying to check it by putting the probes on the pads rather than on the fuse to check if
it's actually connected to the pads. It seems to be, from what I can tell. So I'm hopeful this is going to work. Yeah, I'm actually really happy about that. I didn't melt either of the connectors that are right next to it. I managed not to knock off this tiny, I assume it's a capacitor right next to it. Maybe I should have added some extra solder, but it seemed fine, so I didn't bother. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. I'm going to reassemble this now quickly. We're going to test it, and let's see if it works. Alright, to test this we're going to need a game, so we've got a copy of Formula Nippon that we found in PlayStation to begin with. And let's try it out. Okay, the disk drive isn't spinning up, so and there's no signal on the TV. I'm wondering if I didn't plug in the disk drive correctly. Oh, I found the problem, and I'm an idiot. I didn't plug in the power supply. I'm such an idiot. Right, let's plug this in. And let's try again. Cross your fingers. Yes, it's starting. Okay. You have no idea how glad I am that I didn't completely brick this. That would have been really sad. Okay, and our game's working. Can we skip this obnoxiously loud intro? Yes, we can! I don't want to celebrate too early, but I think that means... Yes, we fixed the control! We fixed the controller port. Oh, awesome. Let's try and find something two-player to test the second control. One and three. Okay, cool. So the first control is working seemingly. Up and down work, left and right work. Don't think that works in the game. X works. So controller 2. Controller 2 is also working. Yes. Okay, up and down works. Select. Start works. Nice. Start work. Start work. Let's really tried that. Can we go back? Yes. Okay. I think we fixed it. That's awesome. Okay, great. Yeah, so that's awesome. Let's try a game quickly. Just do one player. Yeah, so this isn't a game I've ever tried playing before. I didn't even know Japan had their own Formula racing scene, to be honest. Alright. How do we play this? Like X is accelerate maybe? Can we steer with this? No, we can't, it's arrows. If I remember correctly, there used to be a toggle in options sometimes. Never mind. To toggle between analogs and the arrow keys. It doesn't seem to be on in this. Oh no, I think I've taken. PS1 graphics, you're so nostalgic and so terrible. Whoa. That's how you change gear. Okay. Whoa! What is going on here? Skidding all over the place. Okay, I think I have to change gear. I haven't figured out how to brake though. It's fine, who needs brakes? When you have power! Oh! Okay, turns out I need brakes. Whoa! Speedy. Okay. 232 kilometers an hour. It's only got 5 gears. I swear Formula 1 cars have more than 5 gears. I don't follow F1 that much, but I feel like surely they must have more than 5 gears. Well, I'm not last, so if I can finish not last, I guess I'll be happy. And there's an invisible wall there. Amazing. Oh jeez. And the gravel. Got like gravel effects. That's kind of cool. That gravel spray. Also tyre spin, I think. Is that because my tyres are cold? Ah, okay, B is brake. B, brake, that makes sense. I wish I could use the analog sticks. Oh, I was paying attention. What is happening here? I think it's a little bit, I think it's a little bit terrible simulation. And we're just on the red limiter. Okay. Goal! Sure, goal. Okay, what a terrible game. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, everyone. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I'm super excited we managed to fix this one. I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to take the fuse out of this one and put it back in the other one, and then I'll order another one for this, purely because I want to be able to play on the modded console. Yeah. Leave down in the comments what's your favourite PS1 game that I can try and play, because I'm really excited to try and play some classic games on this. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe and check out my channel for other videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.